So I'm just waiting for Calvern to join the meeting. Super excited to chat with him again. And you can see I've got my medal and I've got my sub 3 t-shirt on. So we're going to be finding all about how Calvern got on in the race. I hope he's going to be wearing his medal as well. So we'll see. Just waiting for him to be waiting for him to join the meeting. It's very exciting. Very, very exciting. Okay, here he is. Super excited. Let's go. Calvern.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you? I'm pleased to see that you've got the memo about the clothes. We're both wearing red and we've both got our medals. So
That's
that
awesome.
is good news. But one of the things that you won't have is a Ben Parks sub 3 club t-shirt because you're not in the club yet, are you?
I'm not in the club yet, man. I missed it by a long shot.
Firstly, where are you right now? Let's just I'm going to start with some questions and then we'll go back in time. But where are you right now?
So right now I'm at the office. I'm at work in South Africa. I work for a
Yeah,
huge manufacturing company, so I'm back at work. Back in
amazing.
South Africa. Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. So you traveled over to Manchester specifically to run the marathon.
Yes, I just had to just train a little bit, then off to the UK to run the Manchester Marathon.
Amazing. So we met on that Sunday morning. It was quite cold, a little bit miserable. I remember strutting up to, I was as nervous as anything. I was so worried about the marathon. And I went and joined the line behind you to go and buy a banana and a bottle of water. And we got chatting. And I
Yeah.
was like, this guy's cool. This guy's super cool. Like you had all the running, like you had all the cool running gear on, you had your cool glasses, and I thought I got to get to know this guy. And so we got chatting, didn't we?
Yeah, we got chatting, and I was thinking to myself, oh, well, I mean, let me just be kind and let me just offer to pay for. I knew I had heard what you're ordering, so it was quite small, and with my minimum budget, I knew I could cater for you.
Oh, okay. So if I had wanted 2 bananas, would I have? You would have been no way, man. No.
No way. I'm like, no, you only are supposed to get one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just good. And I did read this week that having a banana pre-run is an essential. So that was good. It certainly worked. And we recorded a little video for the channel.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we exchanged numbers because we did some selfies and we ended up
Mm,
having a long call the following week, to find out how you'd got on and we just got chatting and you had such an amazing story. And I thought, I've got to share this story with the world. And you really kindly sent me this book, which
correct. Yeah,
so a lighter way of being by Di Smith, a sort of a book about mindfulness and a different way of living. And in this book is Calvin's story. And I've got so many questions. I'm so inspired by you. I'm so inspired by your tenacity and your hard work and your ethic. And I just thought it would be really cool to chat about you and
yeah,
about running
yeah.
and about life. So would
But
that be okay?
thank you. Yeah, that was awesome. But I also found you amazing. You quickly related to me, an African guy. I mean, nothing much to write about me, but you were so kind, welcoming, and made me feel comfortable. I really, really take my hat off for you, and thank you for being good and be kind to the world.
It's an absolute pleasure. I thought I was standing next to Eliud Kipchoge, if I'm honest. So it might just be mistaken identity. Uh,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
but
much. Yeah,
but either way, look, the feeling is mutual. I think this is the great thing about running is that actually it does make, we're all doing the same thing. We're often doing it for the same reasons. And actually there's that commonality. And I think this is a friendship that has formed that is more than just running in a race together. I think we're going to keep in touch and I'm
definitely,
excited to see your
definitely.
running journey. I'm excited to hear
Yes.
more about your life story. So I'm just going to kick off with, I'm just going to go straight to it. There's a whole load of stuff in this book about you and about your life story. One of the things that the starting point of where Di met you is that you traveled from Zimbabwe to South Africa. What was it that took you to South Africa from Zimbabwe?
So I embarked on this journey in 2010, which was just a few months after I graduated from Great Zimbabwe University in Zimbabwe, and the economic meltdown was number one. I knew there was no life for me in Zimbabwe, and I had a family to look after. I had a life to build, but I did not have the tools. The only thing that I had was my courage and faith that I'm going to meet someone who's going to hold my ladder and help me to achieve my goals. That was
Amazing.
it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so there's sort of maybe a bit of a paradox or a juxtaposition, but when I think of, can I say young black African in Zimbabwe? Is
Yes.
that, am I allowed to say that? You know, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, you
think of,
are.
yeah, I don't think of university educated.
Mm.
So how did you get there? Like, how did you get to university? Did you, what did it take for your family? What were the sacrifices your family had to make so that you were able to get that
Um,
education?
so my mom used to come to South Africa to sell handmade stuff, artwork to send us to school. My dad had just a manual job that didn't amount to much, but our family and the country itself has got a high education population rate. So a
Yeah,
lot of people go to school. A lot of people are educated. The schools are good. It's a very decent economy. So my parents had to work very hard to
yeah,
sell stuff on the streets, um, sacrifice all they could, for us to go to university. So it wasn't easy for us to go to university, actually.
yeah,
There was
yeah.
no
Okay.
scholarships. There's no funding. You have to pay cash, and it was myself and my young brother. So we're just taking turns until we finished. I remember in my final year, a friend of mine actually paid for my tuition. His sister
Wow,
actually paid for my tuition. Yeah.
wow, wow. And so, what was it like growing up for you then? What was your family? What was your family like? What was the village? We talked a little bit on our phone call about your village, and what was home like for you as a young boy?
As a young boy, I grew up around a lot of love, respect, honor, dignity. Those are the things that bind my village. But we had little,
Yeah,
so we learned to share. We
yeah,
learned to there's no thieves, there's no nagging of any sort. It was just love, but with people that had a lot of little resources. So we always knew that we could do more with the little that we had. We did
yeah.
not have to have the latest Android phone, the latest books, the latest Wikipedia. That one book the whole village would share. So
Wow,
you go to school and you've got five textbooks, then you take tens. If it's math, whatever it is, you had to share. That's why the
wow.
first thing, my first instinct when I started talking was like, can I pay for you? I didn't
Yeah,
know your status, but I knew I had money, I knew my position, but I needed to help. That was my
yeah.
first instinct. Yeah,
So
yeah.
real community values, like,
Community values, amazing community values. Yeah.
and has that? I'm going off piece. We did plan some questions, but has that changed over the years in that village? So has technology kind of reached into that village and changed it, or do those community values still exist? Because
Uh,
I see the kind of the erosion of society where I live in the UK, and everybody's very individualistic, and we don't share anything. So is
mm.
that still the case in your home village?
Um, um, I'll be honest that it has been compromised by the poverty. People are
Yeah,
more for myself. What's in it for me? Because they don't think or hope that the level that the country has deteriorated, it would improve. So obviously that has been compromised. You would see some grains of love, respect, and all that, but still it's been compromised because of the
yeah,
anxiety that people have about tomorrow.
yeah.
That has
And
affected the village. Yeah.
so you would say that your whole life perspective has been shaped by a community of love and respect and dignity, and that's really shaped who you have become now.
That has defined the man that I am today. That has
Amazing.
really defined who I am today. I mean, for me, it's about Ubuntu. There's a theory called Ubuntu. It's an African philosophy that says that I am what I am because I've loved you. We are one in that way. That's
Mm,
Ubuntu.
amazing.
Yes.
I love that. Ubuntu.
Ubuntu, yes. It's a
Ubuntu.
philosophy. It's an
Amazing.
African philosophy. Yes.
Amazing. I'm going to look that up. So coming back then to your mum Rita, I
Yes.
can call her that because that's what she's called in the book, and I think that's what
Yeah,
her
that's a
name.
name.
Yeah,
That's a
but
name.
that's why I'm going to call
Yes.
that's why I'm calling her Rita. I'm not just making stuff up here. But so she used to travel to South Africa to sell these knitted goods. Um, Tell me about those journeys because it sounds from the book like it was pretty crazy.
So mom would leave off on a bus, then hop onto like a 4 or 5 day train trip to come to South Africa with maybe 3 or 4 bags of her handmade stuff. And she would sell all those things. I didn't have a decent place to stay, just lived on the railway station, sleeping on a cardboard box and save up. Whatever she made, then she would hop onto the next bus. So that would mean that she would go like for months without us at home, you know. They just to sell that, who would call, who would speak to her. We didn't have a phone. I remember we used to go to our relative who had a phone that says, Mom is going to phone on Saturday at 11 o'clock. So that taught us punctuality and anticipation.
Oh
So
yeah,
if you didn't hear from her, we knew she was okay, unless there was an emergency. So she'd just go and on a public phone and just say, Hi, how are you? Do you need anything? We are fine. So our dad would be holding the fort at home with us, and we grew up pretty much quickly because of the
yeah,
situation. Yeah.
yeah,
So we learned to be responsible then.
yeah. And it says in the book that she sometimes had to like avoid gunfire and bandits and
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because in South Africa it's hectic with a lot of crime.
yeah,
So sometimes they would mug her or herself if she sells something on her way back here. Somebody can jump into a train and point a finger at people, a gun at people, and then just take all their possessions and just leave. So she would
yeah.
be here for like 2 months and come back home without nothing. It happened once though that she got mugged.
Gosh,
Yeah.
wow. And how? I mean, do you remember how did she pick herself up to go again and to do that again? I mean, like what kind of
So
resilience did she have? It must have been amazing.
she's an amazing lady, and so is my dad to be able to allow her wife to not be around the family. But the situation forced us. It was a
Yeah,
do or die situation. Either
yeah,
way, if she stayed around at home, she wouldn't be having anything to feed us. If she left, she would have to miss us. So it was better for her to go and fend for us than come back to us with something. So we'd then
yeah,
celebrate and appreciate the goodies that she would have brought and the community. Because when she got here, she would make friends. They would give her secondhand clothes. She would come with bags. Then whoever was the right age would be given that by my mom. She never used to sell stuff to anyone. She just give to the
wow,
community. Yeah.
wow. And was your dad a good cook? Did he
Yeah.
he cook good
Yeah.
meals for you?
Yeah. He cooked good meals for us, and he liked training, so he would just go running and fishing with us, and yeah. But it was just a nice, like I said, it was
Yeah, amazing.
all love and respect. We had little, but we knew that this was a day we had to love and respect us. We have to respect our elders. That was the common thread that went through the village.
Yeah, that's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
So let's jump forward a few years. So you got your first degree and
Right.
you then decided, oh, okay, I want to do another degree. I want to do a master's degree. So
Yeah.
what so you went from being in a child who grew up in poverty to then doing a degree. You met Di along the way. Tell me that story.
So I come into South Africa and I was an illegal immigrant. I stayed on the streets for 2 years. Sober. I didn't have anything I didn't have a job. So what I did was I picked up from my mom's trade, entrepreneurship, I might say. I started just selling stuff on the traffic lights.
Yeah.
selling stuff on the traffic lights. And at that time, I was with my girlfriend, who's the mother of my child.
Yeah.
She was also she's an engineer, so she was just me and her. So she would work as a maid, a house girl,
Yeah.
and I would just look for jobs to be a garden boy, anything that I could do to have my hands on. So we'll then print our CVs, and I would walk from one company to the other, just handing over CVs. Here's CVs, my if it's an engineering company, it's theirs. If it's commerce related, it's mine. So one day I went into an engineering firm. Then I met a guy called Anthony Haynes. Then he offered her a job based on
Yeah.
how I had described the job. So she said, if you are living with someone who you're not an engineer, but the way you're explaining things, that person that is teaching you this is amazing. Then she got hired. Then she knew
Wow.
Guy and Di. So Guy and Di were Anthony Haynes' friends, and they then also hired me. So from
Wow.
there, I went from living on the streets to living with multi-millionaires.
Wow.
Amazing love. They
Yeah.
blew me away with their work ethic, their love, their resilience, their belief. Blew me away. So I
Yeah.
was fortunate to have met them because
Mm.
they shaped how I think. They just told me, Calvin, there's nothing different from with you and the next guy. The only thing is your mindset.
Yeah.
Fortify your mind. Believe. The universe will give you whatever you want.
Yeah.
So when I lived with them, they would go to France on multiple trips just to cycle with the family. And then I learned that one day when I can afford, I want to travel the world and do
Yeah.
something, just travel the world with my family. I didn't know that I was going to get into running. So running in a way paved that. Run and
Yeah.
travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So when did you so what master's degree did you do?
In
Um,
procurement, I did a master's in procurement and supply, and then I did an MBA from Heriot Edinburgh University. Yeah.
wow. So you're
Did so that.
highly qualified, way more qualified than I am. So
It's just books.
yeah.
It's just books.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something that I don't get on very well with is books. Um,
Yeah.
so let's talk about your running then. So when
Yes.
did you discover that you enjoyed running? How did you get there?
I didn't discover that I enjoyed running, but along the way, my partner and I decided parted ways, and then she relocated to the UK and with my son. So last year in October, that's when my son went across to the UK. So she works there as an engineer. The pain of losing a family, the pain of losing my son, I had to direct that pain elsewhere, or else I'd be a wreck.
Yeah,
So I just took up running as an escape.
yeah, yeah. And
Each time I would miss, each
how
time I
did
would
you
miss them,
choose?
I'd just
Oh, sorry. Go on. You go. You go.
yeah, yeah. So each time I missed my son, I would just go running and crying along the way, run as far as I could. I
Yeah,
didn't even have proper shoes. I would just run. Then I started my knees and my shins started hurting. So I just learned that I had shin splints. Then I just started Googling and reading about running. Then I realized that I needed to change my shoes. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Let me just try and register for the next half marathon and see how I could fare. And I did so badly. It was painful. Yeah, yeah.
there are a lot of other ways that you could channel that emotion, like watching movies, going for walks, playing golf. Uh, what was it about running that provided that opportunity for you to process that emotion? And because it's getting into running is hard. I mean, I'm sure, hopefully it was hard for you. It's certainly hard for me. When I started out, it was just exhausting. So, you didn't take the easy option. Is that
No,
part of
no.
is that part of your story and a part of who you are is I'm not gonna take the easy route here.
So in all this, there was the taboo that came from being divorced. So running provided silence, solitude, and mental adaptation.
Yeah,
Running a marathon is a long distance. You are in your head for the majority of your time.
yeah,
So that helped. And I'm an introvert. I'm not very good at talking about my story. So this is the first time I'm talking about it openly. Uh, so it was the only sport that could do that for me was running. If I played tennis, I would have to play with a mate. If it was soccer, I have to be with someone. If it's golf, but running provided the solitude and the silence that I needed. Myself, dealing with my issues, crying if I have to cry, breaking down if I had to break down. That really helped me.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
That
I,
helped me.
I completely, yeah, it's very similar for me. I love that being alone. Sometimes I,
Mm.
have music on or I listen to an audio, but often I just put my headphones in to make it look like I'm listening to music, but I just have silence. And
Yes.
it's that space. And there's been, wow, I mean, times where I've been shouting when I've been running, I've been singing because I've been really happy, but similarly also crying and, really despairing and in angst. So I understand that.
Mm.
So
Mm.
can you remember any times in running where you've kind of felt that it's had a really significant impact on your growth? So have there been any kind of key moments where you've really had kind of like a shift in mindset, or you've really seen things more clearly through running?
Yeah, so in April this year, I registered for a Durban marathon, 42 kilometers, and I just said I want to do a sub 4 hour time. And while I was running, I started thinking about my son.
Mm.
What would he ask me one day? What would the village think of me? Because we're a community where all this is shunned upon. You cannot open up on your emotions. A man has to bottle it all in. So I got to 30-kilometer peg and I just felt a huge relief and I started crying until the finish line. That was the day that I stopped seeing my situation in a negative light. I started realizing that with running, it's building blocks, building mileage every day. In life, it's also taking each day as it comes. So in both situations, in running and in life, consistency compounds.
Oh, brilliant. I love that. Consistency
So
compounds.
it's day by day, stride by stride, in the right direction, you would definitely get your healing. So it was at that moment that I thought to myself, wow, this is running as a lifestyle. I don't need a Garmin. I don't need Strava and all of these things. I could just take my watch off and just go out running. Run in the rain, run in the wind, run in the cold. Just me, have fun, no judgment. In my thoughts, build what I want to build, be the man that I can be, promise myself all the good things that I can achieve. And I believe that this is the second half of my life. I've been given a new lease on life with running. I can be better than my old self. I've made some mistakes in the marriage, and thank God that my partner and I are best of friends now. Each time I have to go to the UK, I stay with them for 2 weeks, see my son, have fun, and stuff that all the positive things that I never thought could happen from that bad situation
Yeah.
through running, through
Wow.
being in my own world, through being by myself, helping myself to introspect. Only I
Amazing.
could do that, achieve that through running.
Yeah. Amazing. And that is just that's so inspiring. I know that
Thank you so much.
anybody watching this will be inspired and motivated by that. I can't get over. There's one little thing that you said there that I can't get over, which is that you could go out running without Strava. Because
Yes.
there's no, I haven't got there yet. For me, if I didn't record it on Strava, it didn't happen. It's like it didn't exist.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
and I think that's the place to get to. I think that place where running is just you and the road or the trail and your mind and creation
Yes.
and nature and God, just all of that brought together. That's so beautiful. So well
I
done.
mean, I believe that running is therapeutic. There's no pressure. You could run at any pace, as
Yeah.
long as you enjoy it and just go out there and be free. All the freedom that comes from running. It's more mental than physical. That is what I've also discovered.
Yeah.
So it has fortified my mind. I believe I can do anything. The ups, the downs, the flats, the hills, all those are akin to a normal life.
Yeah.
It's not always smooth sailing, but each time you overcome, you
Yeah.
know you've done better. It's more
Yeah.
victories. First thing in the morning when I have to run, victory number one. It sets the tone for my life for the day.
Yeah.
That's why I love running. Every day
Amazing.
I have to do it. If I cannot run, like now I'm nursing an injury, same time I wake up and I just walk.
Yeah.
It's the
Brilliant.
discipline that is brought, but that has also
Yeah.
helped me, brought into my life. Yeah.
Incredible. And so let's talk about Manchester then. So
Yes.
Manchester didn't quite go as you planned.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you deal with that? It was cold, you hadn't run in the cold before, you weren't used to it. I mean, I felt so sorry for you because it was raining, it was windy. How did you deal with that mentally? You've traveled over to England, you're excited, and then it's like, oh, this is hard. This is hard. How do you deal with that? What was going on in your head?
So again, running marathons helps you to be flexible. There are many goals. I came there to do a sub 3 hour marathon. The cold, the first 30, 40 minutes when before we could run, I was freezing. I
Yeah,
knew immediately that I won't run well. But I
yeah,
thought to myself, wow, I've got to be flexible. This is an opportunity, over 28,000 participants, a poor person from a little village taking this medal back to Zimbabwe, showing the kids at the schools that this is what I've achieved from the back of beyond.
yeah,
That alone is a feeling that's better than being a sub 3 hour marathon runner. I just knew that I had to go easy on myself and finish this race
yeah,
and enjoy the people coming out on the streets, the kids with with sweets, the high fives, all of that, the camaraderie, the friendship,
yeah,
the honor, when people cheering you on, that alone was amazing.
yeah,
So I just knew that okay, going forward next time, if I have to do better, I have to go to bring throw away clothes.
yeah,
So next time I'm gonna be warm and just be prepared. I mean, this is life, nothing is guaranteed. Your
yeah,
day could turn in your face now. You've
yeah,
got to be able to adapt, and
yeah.
marathon running gives you that.
Brilliant. That's so what? Yes, incredibly wise,
Yeah.
incredibly wise. So, how would you? What advice would you give to somebody who's struggling with life? Maybe life's getting them down. They're thinking about taking up running. What would your advice be to them? We both know it's a great coping mechanism. It's a great way to lift ourselves out of that mindset. But what would be your kind of first piece of advice for somebody who wants to start running?
I would say that to somebody out there who wants to start running is that comparison is the thief of joy. Be it
Yeah,
in running, be it in life. Don't compare your Strava time to your mate. Don't compare your house to anyone. Don't compare where you are in life. When I run, I just give kudos to my mates in Strava. I don't mind if they're doing 4 minutes per kilometer, whatever they're doing. So in life, I think the pressure that we give ourselves is trying to keep up with the Jones.
yeah,
When I was in Zimbabwe and I had little, I was the happiest person on earth. When I
mm,
came here and I could start affording little things, I'm like, okay, I've flown to Manchester. I could have flown in next time I want to do business class. But
mm,
I've missed the essence of just appreciating a decent flight to a race and coming back.
yeah,
Now I've got to look at the means. So stop comparing.
yeah,
That could take a lot of percentages of joy from your life. Do not compare anything. Appreciate life for what it is. It's a season that you're in, it's a phase that you're in, it will come to pass. We
yeah,
all go through that. Like in a marathon running, you could hit a wall at 23 Ks. Stick around and you win. I was very, 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 very happy with the lady that won the London Marathon this year. She
oh
struggled a
yeah,
lot.
yeah,
She
oh
struggled a
wow,
lot.
yeah,
The other, it was a maiden race. She struggled a lot. She had cramps. She had all sorts of pains. But at the
yeah,
end of the day, she won.
yeah.
She won the race. Life is like a marathon. You will struggle. You will be stuck. You would not know what hit you. Keep going. just like a normal marathon running. Keep going. Do not stop. Motion always. Onwards, forward, one step at a time. That is my advice to anyone in life.
Yeah, and that's
Enjoy
great
the
life
phase.
advice, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, I think so. I mean, you don't have to worry about that particular moment where you are in at the moment. It will pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. So this is just, it's soul food is
Yes.
is how I'm going to describe this. So you know, we've built a connection here, you know, through our mutual love of running.
Yes.
How have you found the importance of building connections, you know, across cultures? You know, you've gone from Zimbabwe to South Africa. You built these relationships with Guy and Di, who came from very different backgrounds and scenarios to you. What's been the importance of building connections with different people across your life?
The importance of doing that is that there are more similarities than differences in all of us. We all have social ills. We all have family that have died of cancer. We all have a friend that is struggling with mental child. We all have that special child that we have. At the bottom of it, we are all the same. Only material things separate us. So we are one.
Amazing.
That is what I've learned from all of this. Your love for running, I love for running across different kilometers. We are so far away from each other. But because we could spend the whole day talking about running.
Yeah.
You know, irregardless of our backgrounds.
Yeah.
So there are more similarities than differences. We are one.
We've talked a bit about your journey, your previous races, and on one hand, you've kind of said marathon running is about flexibility and being adaptable. It's just keeping on going. Do you have any kind of future goals or aspirations from a running perspective that you'd like to achieve, and in your career aspirations that you'd like to achieve? So you know, what does Calvern look like this time next year?
So with my running, I want to do all obviously the 6 majors. But how I'm going to go about it, that I don't know about that. But I've registered for October 15 this year for Amsterdam Marathon. So I'll be flying over to Amsterdam to try and do a sub 3-hour marathon and hopefully be able to wear a t-shirt like yours. That's
Ben Parks will be very happy. He likes selling this, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's that, and just keeping running injury free and running for the rest of my life. That's my goal, you know.
Yeah.
Then with my education, I hope to move across to the UK, so that I can be close to my son and be in his life. Yeah. That is one thing that I am going to do with every bit of my being. I really love my son and want to be close to him. So I've been job hunting, sending out CVs every day.
Yeah.
Until I get a yes.
Yeah. And so doing what you did all those years ago, where you
physically
were going to offices and places, you're doing that again, but virtually.
Virtually, yes, I'm doing that. Knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Knocking on doors. I was given a list of about 65,000 companies that can offer COS, certificate of sponsorship. So I've been writing. I've got a goal. If I write to 30 every evening in a day, I have to bang it, because I believe that there's a lot that I can give back to my community.
Yeah.
Where I come from.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a child of the village. I have to go out there and say, guys, look at me. We drink from the same river. I mean, and look what I've achieved, obviously through the help of God and tenacity, hard work, and all of that. Yeah.
And do you find that if you is it a sort of a once a child of the village, you're always a child of the village? You know,
correct?
Is that the way it works?
That is how it works. That is how it works. each time I see any development, I'm like, oh wow, I wish I could do this structure for the people in my village so that they can understand and know. Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. So you obviously talked about Amsterdam in October, the six majors. Yes to that. You know, let's get the sub three. Um, do you think we could go and run a race together somewhere sometime?
Please, we have to. We
I think
have
so.
to. Just let me, maybe two.
Oh, okay.
W-
Yeah.
one in Europe and then one in Africa.
Ah, yes.
One
Yes.
of these days. There's Cape
Yeah.
Town Marathon, beautiful city. We could do
Yeah.
that. There's Soweto, there's the Comrades. I mean, whatever you fancy, but I want to come and run with you first in Europe. Then,
Then
whenever
I'll
you're
come.
ready, we can do one in Africa.
Yeah.
Maybe one day
I've always liked the look of Comrades. But
it's
only if it's
unbelievable.
downhill, because I think it changes direction each year, doesn't it?
Yes. It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
June 11, it's downhill. So
Okay.
whenever you're ready, then we'll do it.
Yeah.
87
Okay.
kilometers.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. But what fun! What fun! So,
Yeah.
how do you give back to your community, or how do you plan to give back to your community? You know, what would your dreams and aspirations for your village be growing up? You know, what would you love to see happen there?
So I've been fortunate enough to have a decent job. So they say charity begins at home. So I've got a young brother who's got a finance degree and he was battling to get work. So I bought a property and I built a lodge and named it after my son. So it's called Guy's Nest Lodge. So it's got
Oh,
8 bedrooms. It's got 8 bedrooms. So my brother works there and another cousin works there and two ladies from the village, they work there. So whatever we gross, we take 10% of that and we give to the local church.
wow.
And we also just find someone that we pay for their school fees. They don't know who paid. So they are local
Wow.
schools, and we can just say who's struggling. Then we just pay for the year. And we do that all the time.
Wow. You give me
Yeah.
tingles.
Yeah, I mean yeah, we do that. I've got accounting books if you want to see.
I, no,
I
I
do
believe
that
you. No,
because
no. It's
yeah,
amazing,
so
but that is isn't that the essence of humanity and community is that we do stuff like
yes.
that?
But it was a promise so Guy and Di, for everything that they did for me, they also paid for my school fees. They said to me, go and pay it forward.
Wow.
Don't thank us, pay it forward. Do it to the next human being. So I've been trying to do that in a small way.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I suspect that the impact that you are going to have across, you know, across your life is going to be extraordinary. I think you've got such a story, and your heart is it's beautiful. Like it's,
Thank
you
you.
know, I'm so moved chatting to you and hearing your story. So
Yes.
you know, one last question for you. Um, you know, what would your takeaway message for the PKS runs viewers? There's only about four of them, so maybe we
That's
can
okay.
grow this together. But you know,
Yes.
what would you say is the key takeaway from your story for people watching this video today? What's the one thing that you would want them to remember?
Yes, you can. It does not matter where you come from. It does not matter how big the challenge is. Mental issues, mental stability, financial issues. Do it the right way. Yes, you can. There are people that care out there that will be able to help you. Reach out.
Yeah,
Align yourself with God, the universe, whatever you call it. Your intentions must be clear. Your intentions must be right. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, huge mistakes. But I've learned that good people also do wrong things sometimes.
yeah, they do.
And my biggest thing is believe. Yes, you can.
That is amazing. Calvin, thank you so much. I really I really do genuinely, with everything within me, wish the best for you. And I really look forward to continuing our friendship, our relationship. And I would just say, somebody please offer this guy a job, because he's really amazing. So,
Thank you.
maybe this can be your official job application video. I don't know.
Yeah.
But thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your thoughtfulness, your humility. I think what you've been entrusted with a great wisdom and a great level of character, which evidently you've worked hard for, and evidently you have had to overcome many struggles and battles. And me and my wife have a bit of a mantra. We always said that we wanted to get to our deathbeds covered in bruises and scars, but known that we had lived,
Wow.
than get to our deathbeds in perfect bodies, but had never lived at all. And, I think you embody that. Not physically, but, you've really journeyed, and you're an inspiration. And I look forward to chatting more.
Wow. Paul, thank you so much for creating this platform to reach out to the world and share my story. I think you're amazing, and we're going to chat. I'm not going away. I will build this bridge step by step. We'll get there, and I'm looking forward to those 2 runs and more.
Definitely. Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
thank
having me.
you.